The ratings have imploded for the most embarrassing woke Grammys ever as the comedian Sarah Silverman leaves the Democrat Party. In this video, we're going to take a look at the utter disaster that was the 2021 Grammys the other night, how pop music got infested with cultural Marxist wokeness, and why more and more comedians are coming out and standing up to the woke mob like no one else. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every single day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you to think better so you can feel better and provide for you a patriot path to freedom. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's Prepper's Peak new solar water heater. You know, with all the lockdowns that we've been experiencing over the last several months, the solar water heater can actually turn out to be our very best friend. Solar water heater is an amazing device that allows you to heat and boil water outdoors using, you guessed it, simply sunlight. You can heat water in as little as 30 minutes, and it'll work anywhere the sun shines. You use it to boil water, to cook noodles or rice, sterilize water for drinking, you name it. And the best part is if you click on that link below today, you're going to get an additional 20% off their already reduced price. So do not wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link below before they sell out and get your own Patriot Sun cooker today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Now, look, we just talked about in our last video the princess of wokeness, Meghan Markle, wanted to run for president. Now we're seeing a ratings collapse for the empire of wokeness, which is the music and entertainment industry. All right, so we've got the princess of wokeness getting some massive backlash after this whole Oprah interview fiasco and total mockery in terms of her ridiculous political ambitions. And then we have what appears to be nothing short of a mass rejection by the American people of her empire of wokeness in the music and entertainment industry. According to Variety, the 2021 Grammys were, quote, the lowest rated in Grammys history. It was an absolute bust in terms of the ratings. They were an utter embarrassment. Look at these numbers. This is from Deadline. The 8.8 million viewers that the Grammys scored the other night cratered 53% from last year's final results. We saw over the weekend a 53% drop in viewership from last year. Now, not only that, but their viewership among the coveted 18 to 49-year-old demographic, so important to advertisers, was down 61% from the 2020 Grammys. It marked an all-time low for that demographic in terms of viewership. The host was the insufferable leftist Trevor Noah. And the program was about as woke can get. In fact, the program was so woke, it started to freak out people who thought they were woke, but once seeing it, decided, screw this. And we'll be talking in a bit about the comedian Sarah Silverman, who's one of them. She's had it, and she's walking away. She wants nothing to do with these, what she calls righteous porn Democrats. I love that term. It's pretty cool stuff. Now, to be completely honest, I didn't waste a second of my life on the Grammys. I enjoyed reading the commentary on what happened and the horrific ratings plunge, which certainly brought a smile to my face. But if you were looking for celebrations of BLM, George Floyd, cultural Marxism, some lesbian pornographic dancing, police bashing, well then the other night's Grammys apparently were for you. But as it turns out, it appears that there are a dwindling number of people who actually want to be subjected to this nonsense. Now, obviously, modern day pop music has gone fully woke, but it was not always that way. Many people don't realize that pop music and just rock and roll in general actually have some very conservative origins. What we know today as pop music, or rock music more generally, comes from the Southern Pentecostal church in the early 1950s. And the reason for that is that the church served as a space for blending together the three main musical genres that syncretize into rock and roll. So you've got African rhythm placing a primacy on drums. You've got rhythm and blues instrumentation, namely the guitar. And then you've got gospel melodies and progressions. And so you'll notice that the very first generation of pop stars, right, rock and roll stars, they all came out of the Southern Pentecostal church. So Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, right, the cousin of Jimmy Swaggart, the preacher, and Little Richard. In fact, if you know the song Tutti Frutti by Little Richard and its iconic refrain, a womp bam balloon bump, a womp bam boom, that's a parody on the Pentecostal practice of speaking in tongues, right? Pretty wild, right? But as we can see with the first generation of pop stars, the burgeoning pop industry turned its back on rock music's Christian roots, and it did so primarily through the secularization of the lyrics. So loving Jesus was in effect replaced by a pretty woman. But as the British journalist Stephen Turner has pointed out, what carried over into pop music and the industry as a whole is what he calls rock and roll's search for redemption. Rock music has always emphasized the need to break away somehow from this fallen world. But because of the secularizing tendencies in pop music, the fallen world from which we're to be redeemed was redefined as the social and cultural norms of the 50s generation. Rock music remained redemptive, but God and Satan had nothing to do with it. Now that has some fascinating crossovers with Marxism. The very Marxism that's animating the new woke warriors in the pop music industry today. What's so interesting here is it's pretty widely acknowledged that Marxism is basically a secularized parody of the Christian faith. Marx simply replaced sin with selfish capitalist conceit. He replaced good and evil with power discrepancies between the oppressed and the oppressor. He replaced the Garden of Eden with Rousseau's notion of the noble savage, where primitive man lived in harmony with nature. He replaced the future kingdom of God with a communist utopia, and he replaced the church with the state. Now, the state is the primary instrument of redemption. And so it's no wonder as pop music became radically secularized that it turned into a radically hospitable media for cultural Marxism and the cult of wokeness, which we saw so faithfully on display the other night's Grammys. The good news is that more and more former wokeists, shall we say, have been reawakened to see the light and recognize the nonsense that cultural Marxism actually is. And Sarah Silverman is the latest celebrity to walk away. Now, before we get into that, we here at Turley Talks would love to get your feedback on how we can serve you better. And so we put together a very short survey that you can access by clicking on the link below. And we've got some free giveaways for you. If you click on that link below to fill out the survey, you're going to be automatically entered into a drawing for some free merch from our brand new merch store. Filling out this quick survey is going to help us so much in terms of how we can serve you better and offer more content and find even more ways to enrich your life with a solid and flourishing conservative life world. So click on that link below, fill out that survey, and get entered in getting some pretty cool merch today. All right, gang, the comedian Sarah Silverman. She's been turning some heads over the last few days because she has publicly announced her disavowal of the Democrat Party. She recently explained to her viewers that, quote, "It's the absoluteness of the party that I am in that is such a turnoff to me. It's so effing elitist. You know, for something called progressive, it allows for zero progress. It's all or nothing, no steps toward all or effing nothing," which she calls righteousness porn. And I've been thinking about this a lot just in general. I don't know that I want to be associated with any party. I think I don't want to be associated with any party anymore. It just comes with too much baggage. Every party, it comes with so much effing baggage that no ideas can be taken at face value. And without ideas, what are we? Without a common truth, how can we talk about it? We're no longer able to be a nation of ideas. Now, I think it's so interesting that so many comedians are the ones that are openly challenging the politically correct inquisition of woke cancel culture, right? It's not just Sarah Silverman. It's Billy Burr, Ricky Gervais, Dave Chappelle, even John Cleese, right, of Monty Python fame. They're all recognizing that the world of wokeness, the world governed by the self-appointed cry-bullying PC police, is a radically dark and humorless world. That was Piers Morgan's assessment of his fellow liberals during his interview with Ben Shapiro several months back, where Morgan said that ultimately woke warriors want a world made up of a humorless void where nothing happens, where no one dare do anything or laugh about anything or behave in any way that doesn't suit their rigid way of leading a life. And even liberals are saying, no thanks, we don't want anything to do with this. Now, I know that we're living in a pretty tumultuous time right now. I know that. I know we're all very worried about just how much bumbling Biden and the wave of wokeism is going to radically alter our nation, our nations, and our way of life. I know. But make sure you do not lose heart. Don't ever forget what the king of wokeness himself, Barack Obama, said of Joe Biden, right? Don't ever underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. Well, what Obama said about Joe can be said about Marxist wokeism as a whole. More and more liberals are turning their backs on the left. And pretty soon, the coalition of the canceled is going to be far outnumbering anything the PC police can do to try to enforce their warped world on us. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Check out our link of our new merch. Make sure you fill out that wonderful survey. And then definitely check out our latest video. It's how the Princess of Wokeness, Meghan Markle, is indeed considering a run for the presidency, all as a massive backlash against wokeness has arisen like never before. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.